What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Black Desert video. So today I want to talk about 5 different quality of life settings that everyone should use, whether you're a beginner, returning player, or even someone who's just looking to get better and improve your PvE, life skill, PvP, and so on. So there's actually a lot of things I want to talk about, but I picked out 5 things I think are generally universally pretty good to have. And so some of you guys may have not noticed this. So anyway, with that said, in no particular order, I wrote 5 things down, and let's talk about it. Number 1, if you're getting into the game, you're probably going to have to learn a lot of stuff, but one of the things that I wanted to show you was something you should have on. Down in the show hide miscellaneous, you should probably have all these settings on for the most part, especially the defensive icons, hit detection, miss effect, and that's pretty much, these are the important ones. The other 2 are, separate. But with that said, talking about this, it'll basically train you on how to get back attacks, which sounds obvious, but it's not exactly, because some positionals, like if you've ever played games like Final Fantasy, it's on the side and back, and there's like flank and then back attacks. So it'll teach you how to position yourself, whether you're PvPing or PvEing, and you know how to move and position yourself better. Defensive icons is extra important because it'll teach you your super armor rotations and basically all your protected CCs, and especially for PvP, it's extra important. So what do these icons mean? If you see this one from left to right, the red one is basically invincibility, can't be damaged in it. The middle one is super armor. That means you can't get CC'd in like a 360 around you. As much as I'd like to say it's like 100%, it's not really. There's lag and latency, but for the most part you are protected. And the shield icon is forward guard, as in you can't get like knocked down from the front with the shield icon, but you can still get back attacked and everything, like knocked down from the back and everything. So yeah, learning your rotation, doesn't matter what class you are, learn your protecteds. And, yeah, it's just something you should have. This is what it would look like. You'll see an icon next to your name where the various skills you do. So the way you can look at it from your skills is basically, like, for example, in certain skills, you'll see a red text in there. It would be like super armor during skill, which would be the yellow one, right? So if you did that one, do that. So it's kind of actually just good to learn all of them. Even if you're PvEing, just resistance is sort of a thing, and you can prevent that with crystals, but it's more of a PvP, but it's just good to learn regardless. So yeah, that is that one. And then miss effects is more of a PvP thing. If you're not hitting the enemy, that means you need more accuracy. So these are all very good to learn, and other quality of life thingies, which we'll talk about in a second. Next, I want to talk about the alerts. Now, when you first start the game, immediately as you get put into the world, you're probably going to see a lot of different notifications in your chat log. There's going to be like, oh, this item is sold for this one. And then there's going to be pop-ups at the top of your screen where it's like, this item has been listed, and you're like overwhelmed, already confused, have no idea what's going on. My recommendations for a lot of people in general, or I guess everyone, is to turn all of these settings off until you think you need it. So basically, all these things under shared are the pop-ups you see on your screen. I guarantee you, no one needs to see this. And the only thing that I think might be important is basically central market, item registrations, and notifications, which will appear at the bottom of your screen. But even then, like, it depends how new or like experienced you are with the game and how much like you care to see it. Otherwise, there's also audio cues for people who want to hear like, hey, this item is sold off the market. It'll play a little ding sound. So yeah, my recommendation, turn all these off unless you really need it on, and then you could turn these off if you're not a PvPer or you're just not during wartime. And then alerts for these, really just personal preference, but I'd recommend just keeping them off if you don't like clutter on your screen and just pop-ups every other second. So yeah, that's important. These are all on by default. I don't know why, but I mean, you should probably turn them off until you think you need them. Next thing I want to talk about, number 3, is quick hotkeys. A lot of people don't know this setting actually exists. If you're a PvEer, PvPer, life skiller, which is basically everything in the game, there's a few settings that all of these are pretty useful for. For example, turning on and off your Agris. That's, you know, it's nice to have. A lot of these can also be preset, but you can also just like buttons for it as well. Installing your campsite is an extremely important one. You guys ever have that time where it's like you're trying to place a tent down, but it's like you cannot install the camp on an inclined area? That is the most obnoxious thing, by the way. So yeah, you just hotkey it instead of having to push the button, like doing this and then installing it every time and then moving 2 feet. Just have a hotkey on it every time and you're good to go. And then same with collecting. But yeah, this quick hotkey settings has a lot of the quality of life things that a lot of people will use on the daily, and especially if you're changing pets, if you have like a PvE, PvP life skill setup, you might want to have these all set up, but you can do it all in one as well. Same with loot scroll, finding NPCs, and all these. So a lot of these settings are actually very good. I just wish it was more obvious in the game. So the way you could find it is, you know, just go into your menu and do like quick hotkeys, and then this is what it pulls up, and then make sure to like hotbar it and just set all these up. And yeah, a lot of these actually are very important that you will use on the daily. Next thing I want to talk about, number 4, is map navigation. So they recently changed it a couple months ago. It used to pull up like all the list of tabs over here, and basically what you do now, what I see a lot of people doing, is they drag their cursor from, like, let's say you want to be let's say you're starting at Heidel, right? And you want to go to Valencia. I see a lot of people doing this. I don't think it's a right or wrong thing. It's more like, here's how to do it faster. So let's say you're starting at Heidel. This is what I see a lot of people doing. They just drag their cursor there. Here's what you can do instead if you're starting at Heidel. You can click the banners over here at the top. If you wanted to get there, it does that instantly. Now, with that said, if you're a new player and you don't have all these icons memorized, that's okay. Let me show you what else you can do. So let's say we're starting at Serendia again. There is a hotkey where you can Alt plus a number. And so I have to set up to be like 1, like you could set it where your camera is, like 1, 2, 3, and very specific locations. And so you don't have to drag it. Let me show you how to do that. So, okay. Let's say let's pick a random spot on the map. I don't know. Let's say we want to look down here, but we want to look at a certain spot on the map. Let's say this node right here. If we want our camera to be exactly zoomed in where we're locked in right now, you do this, like Alt, and then a number, and it'll say saved location, right? So we have this one, and then the number we just saved will go over here, and then back to where it is again. So even if you do this one, and then you do that, it'll exactly move your camera to where it locked in last. So that's actually a very nice navigation thing that a lot of people just have no idea existed. So it's actually very nice to travel from point A to B, especially what I use it for is, one, I have a lot of workshops going in 3 different towns, so that one I can manage the different ones. Also, every day I reset my Royal Workshop, so like the free refresh thingy, you just click that button. That's why I have one in there. And so if I want one for Edania, and then so on, Valencia, and then the one we just saved, you can always just overwrite it, Alt plus number. I don't know what it is on controller, but you know, it's probably a 2-button combo. And so getting from point A to B is a lot easier. Now you know. So instead of dragging your cursor like from like here, you could click the storage keeper of every town, but if you don't have that memorized, Alt plus number to lock in a specific location. The next thing I want to talk about is people have been asking me, how do I customize my UI hotbar layout? Because by default, I believe there's only like 10 or like 8 different keybinds that you have, and then you kind of want to have more of them, because this is an MMO. The more you see in terms of like actual important skills, not random notifications, is actually very important. So what you're going to want to do first is go down to quality of life and then separatable quick slots. What this will allow you to do is to move things and add more of them. So once you have this one on, you're going to want to go to your edit UI, and then by default there's probably going to be some that are off and on. So if you see this, for example, you see that how it's white, that means it is visually showing. If it's off, like the eye is closed, that means it's turned off, and then on, off. And then what you're going to want to do is just kind of line things up how you like your UI. I've seen a lot of different people having different UIs over the years. I think it's just personal preference. But for all the people who have to have things perfectly, I completely understand. Just make sure to show the grid and then line things up. Make sure the auto align is off. Otherwise, they kind of snap together, which could be good if you're lazy. But if you want things like actually perfectly, make sure to turn this off, show the grid, and then just line things up. So if that matters to you, is good. And people have asked me, how do you get this like new one? So actually, this was the older UI that they started with the game with. And so like all the OG players will probably still have this one for the most part, because everything is just like easier to see. And I think most people, especially if you're an RPG player in general, you're generally looking at the center of your screen and then looking down for the most part. There and up, like generally within the center range. So being able to see your health bar just looking down instead of top right is a lot better. But this is what the customized one looks like. And so by default, I think newer players see this one. I think this looks visually nice, but the real thing is, even with this one, I would be looking at the health bar in the center of my screen. And even then, I am not looking up here. So instead, I'm more like, this is what I'm looking at. Health bar in the center and going down. And I just think this is cleaner, in my opinion. I do think the other one looks nicer, but it's just personal preference. In case you were wondering, how do you have the different one? It's just this button right here. So yeah, that's how you customize your UI and everything. If you're wondering how I got the extra things here, so you guys have probably seen how there's like a skill log or a skill cooldown when you press everything. I personally like having mine set up as an always showing, because you can set your order of rotation. Like if you're a PvEer, you could set your rotation that way. The way you do that is go down here, skill settings, skill cooldown, and then you have these set up like all the numbers lined up to whatever you want, and you can push them in order. Make sure to look at these. So the difference is QS means quick slot, CD is cooldown. You want to have your skill cooldowns and your quick slots different. And so these are all the cooldowns abilities, and then this is my hotbar, which even then, like there are some skills that I don't even press the hotbar. I just have it on cooldown just in case, or some of them are actually better to have on there, or some require it. Either way, that's a lot of personal preference. In case you guys are wondering how to set up your UI and change everything, I thought it was just nice to showcase, and especially for newer players who are overwhelmed, it should make it easier. So anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. There's actually quite a bit more I could say and more things I could point out, but for the sake of not having an hour-long video, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to see you guys come back. We got a bunch of stuff coming out next week, so we're going to be making some videos of that, new grind spots, new events to talk about, and so on. But if you enjoyed it, maybe we'll do a part 2. And that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.